do. I know that it seems noble and all that to want to help people and do all this stuff, but it's a lot of work. People don't often say thank you. You might have somebody that would just as soon spit in your face as to thank you for saving their life. It's a long road to get to this point. It's some days when you're working 100 hours a week as a medical student, you wonder what the heck am I doing. But if we have to look back and say was it all worth it, I think probably yeah, but it's not all roses, that's for sure. So my advice would be just to make sure that it's absolutely what you want to do, because you invest so much time and money really into this that you've got to be sure it's something you want to do. Because think about it, if you had $180,000 in debt to get to this point, what are you going to do to pay that off? You're kind of stuck. So you should be sure that's what you want to do.
What made you want to become a doctor? Anything in particular?
Boy, not really. I never really wanted to be a doctor growing up. I was like, Mr. Pre-Med. I kind of just did it because I wasn't sure that I wanted to be a vet anymore, and it was like the next thing to do. Not really a good reason, but it is what it is.
If any, what type of qualities would be great for this type of career?
People talk a lot about, everybody goes on an interview on med school and I want to help people, I want to do this and that. Fast forward 7 years later, and you call them in the middle of the night, they're grumpy, they're trying to get lazy and get out of things, and it just, take it back to the basics. It's all about taking care of people. I treat everybody that walks through the door like I would want my own family to be treated. And it's as simple as that. If you follow that recipe, the same thing they teach you from day one in medical school, the rest will fall into place. Now, that seems like a very simple and noble thing, but you'd be surprised after those years of training and sleepless nights that suddenly goes out the window. But to me, the formula is simple. You work hard every day, you take care of everybody like you want your family taken care of, and do the right thing, and the rest falls into place.
Do you have any qualities that you find that aren't very good for this job?
People that are not empathetic, people that are lazy is probably the biggest one, are people that are not confident in their abilities and sort of try and palm that off on other people.
How long did it take you to find a job after
residency?
Yeah.
Not long at all. I had my pick of 3 jobs 9 months before I was finished.
That's awesome.
So that's not a problem.
Do you think you'll be working as an emergency room doctor for a long time?
No. The nature of this job, it's very hard on the body. It's shift work, so you work days, you work nights. It's an extremely high stress environment. Again, people are not very thankful for the sacrifice you make. They don't really care. It's high paced. You might see 7 patients 1 hour and 0 the next, and that sort of stuff takes its toll on your body and your psyche after a while. I really don't see myself doing this past age 50.
Wow.
If that long.
Are there any personal stories that you'd like to share in your career?
We see him do so much. There's the tough days. Like I can remember, probably my toughest day was I came back when I was a resident. I didn't have any vacation or paternity leave or anything. So my daughter was born. I came back to work the next day because I had 1 shift. And literally my second patient of the day was a SIDS baby, a dead baby. It was probably 6 weeks old or something like that. The ambulance brought the baby in. I was the upper level resident, so we coded the baby. I usually like to bring the parents into the room so they can see us doing everything we can. I think it might help with the grieving process. Anyway, I can remember we did everything we could. We could get the baby back, and the mother was there. And when you say time of death, such and such, she just let out this scream, like you could just feel the love for that baby in her voice. And after just having had our daughter Alex, it was just very difficult to deal with. It was just a real emotional moment that I had to kind of stop working for a few hours. That was tough. That was probably my worst day on the job. Usually stuff doesn't get to me like that, but that day it did for some reason. And then the best day, just last week, a lady came up, thanked me for taking care of her dad, who was very sick, World War II veteran, great guy, and we admitted him with pneumonia. We did everything we could. We couldn't save him. He died. But I remember the next day going up to the floor to see him, and the family just wanted to come up and thank me and gave me a hug. And you don't get that very often. You know, you're kind of, people pass through and they forget about you. But I'd say that little things like that make it worthwhile. So you get the good and the bad in this job. Like I said, it takes its toll.
All right. The last question is, do you have any regrets about choosing this as your career path?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do wonder if it was all worth it. The money's good. The lifestyle is good. I mean, I work 12 days in a month. 12 shifts in a month. It's not bad. I could be digging ditches. There's a lot of pressure. Sometimes I wonder if it's worth the stress and all the other stuff. Sometimes I wish it was just a little easier. Sometimes it's hard to shut the work stress off when you get home, and that's something I've struggled with throughout my whole career. And sometimes you wonder if that's worth it, if it's worth the money. But in the end, probably so. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine that I did residency with the other day. We were kind of talking about the same thing, and he's like, you realize there's probably greater than 100 people walking around alive because of something we directly did for him, and probably you'll never know about it, none of them will ever say thanks. And I said, you're right. And that's probably true. And I guess you're kind of put here for a reason, because I love what I do and I think I'm good at what I do. But